Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM23 Lions. This is episode 48. We continue on progressing through Continental Pro races just to earn some points, even though there are not sponsor objectives. This being one of those. We're in Naro for this one, just a one pro race. I've got a decent team here. I've got two riders that are on fitness peaks, +3 expected for the both of them, giving us another nice neutral day and looking at a fair amount of green in our race day condition as a result. So as we head into the final 75 kilometers on this one, there's a decent amount of undulation here to the finish line. It's definitely not flat, and therefore we are focused on our climbers, not on sprinters, and not necessarily on punchers, though at some stage it's going to come down to one fast move to get some separation. So it's a little bit of a combination of each. But a big double climb right here. Nothing too severe yet, but with this peloton of 89, you can't afford to drift back too far too fast, and so we've got to keep an eye out to Villiers. I think we're already at that stage where a little earlier than expected, we're going to have to ramp up our pace, as this is very much the back end of the peloton. It's pretty small. Through the first climb, into the second of the double. The harder you push, the more damage it does, and that appears that is the back. So De Villiers, speed up. Very punchy, but not a great climber, so you're seeing him drift a little more than you would like, but he's that hope at the end for a potential win versus just earning good points. Breakaway, 7 riders, 3 minutes. No threats in the group, but 3 minutes is healthy. 62K to go though, and let's go ahead. We've got some time to recover. This is probably the best time of all. Benny and Messias, go ahead and get the water since you are literally right here at the back. Villiers, I don't know why you're not working on improving your position at all. There you go. He should be making his way back forward at a potential rate of 89, so it was weird to see him continuing at the back throughout that descent. Benny Messias not currently protecting De Villiers, even though he looks like he is. He's in that position, but he is taking care of our last water for the day. 6.5K for this one, 4.8% as we head into the day's biggest climb. De Villiers still very much the back end. Benny Messias is nearly done, and there you go. He's got the water. Now he comes back to protect De Villiers, and De Villiers is nearly back into position. So far, so good, with 46K to go. We see 3 riders attacking, though. Will this elicit a response, or are those 3 going to get away? It does. There's a response with another attack. Gross-Schartner included. That's a little worrying. It's a fair bit of firepower going up the road. We've got to keep an eye. In fact, peloton 3.5 minutes. We are further behind than we were, which means a breakaway managed to escape further. Keeping an eye on this chase. How effective will it be? It's 39K. We need the recovery right now, and we may have to get involved a little earlier than expected if we're going to have much of a chance in this race, as the front 4 are a minute and a half up the road, and it's 3:30 to a breakaway that was just 2 minutes away. But 31K, that's too long for us to really be doing the bulk of the work. 2-minute advantage. It's not looking good right now. There are 14 riders away. We have to do something. Evenepoel is among those who's away. This is not happening, folks. Not how one would like. 99 is definitely not the pace, but getting the 2 weakest guys. And then Benny Messias, and then everybody else is nice and fresh. Samuels is the best climber, but we want the best puncher. That's Johannes Dalek. Don't need necessarily a sprinter, so those guys can lead us out. Johannes Dalek's definitely looking better than De Villiers, but is it going to be down to Mullerbron? Alright, Mansour, just get us out front for a moment, and then we will lift on that pace a little bit. Front group a little disorganized, but they are further away than they were. The chase is not pushing terribly hard here. Mansour can't even seem to get out front. Finally does. He's on a red bar, but we're going to have to use everything we can. 24K is too far out. Is that Abner? Yeah, Abner Gonzalez on the go, and Mansour is not doing much for us here, but he did get us out front eventually. Rest of the team still looking okay. Evenipol's been dropped by the front group, but it's loaded with talent. And Evenipol's nearly been caught by us. Gap has definitely gotten smaller, so we're not the only ones working hard to chase this thing down. But hadn't gotten out our red bar, so we use that last little ounce of energy, and he is done. Right as the gel kicks in, a bit too late. Still 17K. Still climbing to do. This is one of those races where I think there's not going to be much firepower left at the end. The peloton has just 24 riders, but then there's 13 that we're chasing down. 7 are now close, and those leaders. So they have been caught. They have given up on their relentless pace. This group is getting smaller. We've caught the front riders, and the front group is disintegrating. Benny Messias is done. We're at 13K onto this final challenging climb, but definitely not the final climb. Let's try a 90 here. 13K and 4 riders. That's a lot to cover. This is becoming quite the tricky race. I mean, look at this field. There's Roglic. There's Healy, Prodholm, Tullet. This is just loaded with talent. Evenipol has gone straight out the back of the group. There's Evenipol, Shaw, Salmon. This is a wild ride, folks. A wild ride. And, you know, it's one attack after another. And meanwhile, we are just trying to set the best, most steady tempo we can handle, hoping to get to the end here. Okay, we are over the top. We're down to 13 in the group. Penultimate climb. 14. 2 riders regaining contact. De Villiers, give me 99. It's 5.6K. Okay, let's leave De Villiers behind. Let's get one big acceleration here. It splits the group. And now it's 15 chasing 1. 14 chasing 1. Bisnard from the breakaway is the final guy. He's got a minute 20 at 4K. He's got a chance. He has got a chance of hanging on. And there's really the guys we're catching plus just 2 left behind us, and we are going 99 the rest of the way here. So Mullebron, not a great descender, but should be able to get us into that front position to set us up for the finale. 2K, Mullebron starts sprinting. Samuels sprint. Oh, traffic. Come on, Samuels. Come on, Samuels. Give me that lead out. Give me that lead out. Oh, that's a good lead out. Venegas looking good. Honore, but Johannes Dalek has more left. Folks, I think we're headed for a podium, but what can we do? Johannes Dalek into P2 right now. He's almost out of red bar. He's going to stop catching Venegas, but will he overtake him? He's got the inside track. Oh, man, this is looking like a P2 yet again. Besnard already crossed. What? Oh, Besnard held on. Besnard held on. Venegas takes second, so he does out sprint us there, but Johannes Dalek gets third ahead of Honore Buitrago. Samuels gets 6th. Vermark, Roglic, and Tullet. 9 riders. That was a absolute wild ride there. Mullebron's going to be well placed as well as he gets 13th. De Villiers is going to get 15th. That's points, folks. That is points. That's Evenipol going away from you. He stuck with that group, overtook a couple guys, but that's all he had left in the tank. Top 10, 20 is already established. Yeah, Evenepoel, big strong, big names in the field. Some of the cycling's biggest names. I mean, obviously Roglic is there. We kicked his. No. Not gonna go there. Don't. We got a podium. It's good. It was, for a bit there, it was looking like a top 10 was highly unlikely. I know we're right in the middle of an episode right now, but bear with me. It's a new day, and I'm in the middle of a grieving process. For anyone unfamiliar with the NBA, which could be plenty of you, I'll make this very brief here, as best I can. But Damian Lillard is the greatest of all time in a Portland Trail Blazers jersey. That's my hometown team within the NBA. Now, for those not familiar, the NBA has wildly varied markets. There's the huge cities, your LAs, your New Yorks, your Chicagos, and then there's small market. Portland is small market. It's hard to attract free agents to bring into Portland. Damian Lillard is somebody that we drafted more than a decade ago. He spent his entire career to this point with the Portland Trail Blazers. Their goal, their aim was always to compete. Championship always seemed a little far off because you could never bring in the extra pieces you needed. And for years we tried and we tried. We got to the Western Conference Finals, like one step away from the NBA Finals. So essentially 2 steps away from winning a championship. And playoffs, season after season after season. In fact, the Blazers, I believe, this could have changed with the last 2 years of tanking on purpose for the sake of draft picks. Excluding the last 2 years, I know we 100% without a doubt had the best rate of making the playoffs. Literally every year except one for like 3 decades. Just an incredible record, unmatched by any other team in the top 5 American sports. But that level of consistency led to literally one championship, and it was outside of that 3-decade range. And it led to a couple of NBA finals. But it was just a team that could constantly make playoffs, but not win them, not go deep in those playoffs. Good, but never championship quality. That's Portland. That is Portland. Lillard remained loyal, never begged to get out, never looked for a trade, never did the whole very, very common thing within the sport and other American sports of, I'm going to go ahead and let my contract expire so I can go in free agency to go sign with those big city teams, those mega market teams, and create powerhouses that, are going to go and dominate the sport. Lillard, after remaining loyal all these years, finally had a bit of a betrayal by the front office that stopped trying. They stopped trying to put together a winning team. Even though it wasn't winning, just the attempt. The yearly, we're going to be competitive, we're going to win a lot of basketball games, and maybe, just maybe, one of these years, you're going to make that deep run. Milwaukee Bucks were literally the only small market team in the modern era to win one. Nobody else has. They did it because they've got the best player in the NBA currently, in Giannis. Because of the betrayal and tanking the last couple of years on purpose, Lillard finally had enough and asked out. He asked for a trade. Now, I've had a couple months to process that he had asked out before the deal finally went through, but it turns out that it's to Milwaukee itself. The one small market team that has been able to claim a victory still has that key piece and other key pieces, and Lillard will now have a wonderful chance to try to win a championship, and for him, I'm happy that he's going to get that chance. For me, for many around the city, it's a grieving period. I'm going through those stages rather quickly, but it's tough to see him go. I'm glad what we got in return, and I'm most grateful of all that it's not to Miami and their lowball offer. I won't go into the details of that, but they really did I have 5 fingers. What's the one in the middle? Yeah, see that one? That's what I'm giving you right now. They took that approach to this whole process over the last couple of months. We're just freaking awful on how they approached it, how their fans approached it, how the media approached it. The city of Miami, the team, I lost a ton of respect for them over the last couple of months and how they handled this and how they just massively lowballed the Blazers on what they were trying to offer in return. If you haven't figured it out by now, Portland's small market. We do not get free agents. Big expiring throwaway contracts to free up cap space is useless. We need usable assets. We need draft picks. We need usable assets. We need things that are going to help the team. And what they were offering was none of the above, other than some late first round picks and a piece that made absolutely no sense in Portland and did not have much trade value anywhere else. Okay, you came for cycling content. We're in the middle of an episode anyway. Let's get back to the cycling content. Like I said, I'm going through a little grieving process, so if I'm a little wonky here, that's why. But I'm happy for him, and I'm happy what we got in return with him at Milwaukee and a chance to win. I think that's worked out best for all parties, except for Miami. So far this season, our noteworthy results, despite successes, lots and lots of podiums, not a lot of wins, as we're now racing a Continental Pro calendar, has done okay, but the noteworthy results is rather light. We haven't picked up a lot of bonuses here that we would normally have, and therefore the sponsor confidence is good, but it's not great, and it's not locked in right now that we're going to have what we need to get the maximum increase for the coming season. Our registered riders is literally blank, even though after successes this year, Samuels is now popular to the point that our squad evaluation should be perfect. Oh wait, it's not. Drives me nuts that this does not translate. We have a 100% evaluation in every single category that our sponsor cares about, and yet they are still unhappy with the squad. Make it make sense. But in terms of the objectives, we're most of the way through the calendar. Everything after the last day of July is irrelevant. So we now have 3 objectives remaining. 2 of them are just 1-star objectives. One's a 2 pro, so we're likely to race it anyway. Stage wins for those, but very little impact. What's left? Frankfurt Classic. 3.5 stars. Big objective. World Tour Classic. Big race. Lots of points on the line. The objective? Top 10. And essentially, it's a sprint race. Not our strong suit, but top 10s, not that hard to piece together in general. Now, not aiming for a win does change things. Not having to get that win absolutely puts you into kind of a different mold for what is coming. I think we can absolutely pull off this top 10, but it's going to be essential that we do. Lots on the line, because this is the last major one. You fail this, that sponsor confidence drops, and it probably will not get as high as it needs to get, especially despite our success. Our rate of pluses and noteworthy results, now that we're a Continental Pro, they just don't find good results as interesting as they did when we were in Continental. They got to be bigger, they got to be better, and we've done some, but not a lot. So this is a must succeed objective. Let's see if we can handle our sprint team. Our lead up practice event did go well. This is a race that I plan to have either some jump cuts or at least some accelerated portions within the footage. We have 5 hills to navigate. First one, the biggest climb, shouldn't be hard because of the timing. Breakaway has already established 4 riders, 6-minute advantage. We're going to let that get out a bit, and then we'll stabilize and then eventually start chasing them down. But the chasing them down portion should happen after we're at least past this hardest climb. Hopefully past the second hardest climb, that third of the 5 climbs that we have on the profile for today. Now, lately, we've had a lot of neutral draws. We even had a positive draw. I think we've been very, very balanced on our race day condition draws of late. Today, bloody awful compared to the expectations for the entirety of the team. Big minus, in particular, to the 2 guys that matter for this race. Matt DeVilliers, he's sitting on a 0, -3 draw for him. Ansa on a -3. That's a -5 draw. He had a +2 on the expectation. So terrible, terrible placement for the two sprinters who are expected to play the biggest role today. The rest of the team, it's okay. Even a +1 through the other guys, but really unlucky. Really, really unlucky on the two key figures to have such a poor draw today. De Villiers does have a 0. It's not terrible. He still has a chance. His lead out rider, though, is going to be a little bit of a mess, and things could be ugly. We now have 120k. We're past the hardest climb, so that part is okay. Let's get water for the first time. And let's proceed through the climbs to come. Let's speed it up for a little bit. Back in. So 2 climbs done. 3rd climb, the biggest one that remains, happening right now. And we've slowly been bringing back that breakaway for quite some time. From nearly 7 minutes, it's down to 4.5. And it's just gradually coming down. We're actually even seeing little splits here, little yo-yos in the peloton as we're starting to push harder. This is the first one that has taken its toll on our team a little bit, but everybody's coming out of it somewhere between half strength, 75% strength, and then with the descent are getting a decent amount of recovery after it. So I think we're going to be okay on that part. The last 2 climbs seem pretty manageable for us. We're protecting the key guys here as they are all now at, well, other than Ansa, at full strength. And the sport climbers are looking pretty good as we head into the final 2 climbs. Not too bad so far, but that is a problem. That is a problem. Our team just... Okay, everybody's already up. Everybody got up really fast this time. We need to get our 2 domestiques back in protecting these guys. So Kareem is still there. Carolus is still there. Matt, he's the one who went down. Ooh, Milan is out. One of the favorites. By the way, speaking of the favorites, now's a good time to talk about them. Milan wasn't even the favorite. That's incredible as strong as he is. He's an 80-plus sprinter. There's at least 10 riders with 78-plus in their sprint, meaning significantly stronger than what we have. It's not going to be an easy top 10. It's definitely not going to be an easy top 10. Looks like we have just about recovered our position. 57k, this is a good time to get water. Let's not take away our best protector. Let's get... let's kind of wait till we're near the top of the climb here. We'll speed it up a little bit here. ×2. Down inside 3 minutes on the break. We are definitely chasing. 78 is hurting us, but it's such a short climb that you're not going to drift too far too fast. Now we're near the top, so Johanna Stalik will go back take care of the water. And yeah, there's Ansa still very much near the front of the field. We'll have to push a little bit harder for the final climb, I would imagine, but not by much. 80-81. So easily making this a day of the sprinters. So now the last thing to keep an eye on is the breakaway, because we don't want 4 spots in the top 10 eaten up by the breakaway. Not that I think we're competing for a win at all, but we're competing for a top 10. 6 slots available versus 10 available makes a difference. But as for those 4, it's 2.5 minutes and 43k. I think they're going to be a pretty easy catch. There we go. Water done for the day. Preparing for that last climb. Let's go 81. So we can hold that position a little bit better on this climb. Still a little fatigued. Not fully recovered from the last one, but we should be good. And Peloton actually splitting up just a little bit. Some support riders getting dropped. It's yo-yoing now. Okay, definitely drifting. Definitely drifting. Ansa. Push on harder. Matt. Push on harder. There we go. Over the top. They'll recover that position. Still in the peloton. We are good to go. 38k to the finish. We've got about 20k to cover quickly here. These guys will get back up into their position. The water's already taken care of. It's going to be about how much energy they have left. The little descent here helping with that slightly. But otherwise, I do think there's still going to be fatigue in the legs. And we'll see how hard the push is over the last 34k. Otherwise, we are all set for a proper sprint finish. All right, 13K to go. We're going to set up our sprint train. For now, we will use everyone to help with the position. Roteus here. Stretching from Havu is helping us get into the position we need to be in. There we go. And he's done. So on to Roteus here now. We don't need to go 99 at this point. Havu, that was to get us out front. And this is also to catch a number of breakaway riders, which is a much larger number than what we had a little bit ago, as there was some late attacks here. And we're inside 9K. Okay, that's 2 guys down. On to Johannes Dalek. Again, we'll keep pushing, but not go crazy here. You've got something left to go to the back. Let's get Carolus set up. Still 4 riders off the front, so we've brought it back a bit. We are nicely positioned right now. We're not going crazy to hurt our guys at the back, though Ansa is, struggling a little bit. But 6K and the breakaway is done. So that part, we have handled that. Okay, on to Carolus. 5K to go. So we can gel for these last guys, and I think we can start pushing that little bit harder. Let's get up to speed. Carolus, 4K. Last little hill. Kareem's going to take over right at the top of this and come out of that. I think we're well placed, other than Ansa. Ansa's worrying me a little bit. 2K. Sprinting. 1.7. Ansa does get us a little bit of a lead out here, and De Villiers is so well placed. This is definitely going to be a top 10. Definitely going to be a top 10. We're coming up to lap some guys. He's going to be 5th or better. Merlier takes the win. And Delay, Stewart, Grunovic. De Villiers gets 6th. Really? Really? Clearly had top 5. Clearly had top 5 there. It was third, 4th, or 5th. The guy coming up from behind was faster, but he did not look, Groenewegen did not look like he was going to crack the top 5 at all. De Villiers was not fading. I'm disappointed that that was only a top 10, but it's a top 10. That's what we came for. That's what we got. We just beat a lot of really good sprinters to get there. So, well placed, well timed. Ansa made me a little bit nervous on what he was able to give us lead out wise, but he did give us just enough of a lead out, and we ran that one well. Got the result that you would expect. Figured with a proper lead out we could crack the top 10. He's never going to beat those other sprinters, though. They are way, way faster to begin with. Add a +4 to it. Add race day conditions, which he didn't have, to it. A 75-74 sprinter with a +1 because of a neutral draw. Well, a bad draw, really, based on what was expected. That was an ideal outcome. Should have had that top 5, though. Really, I clearly was not going to win. Merlier, Metten were well ahead. But that 3-4-5 side by side and 6th place being a half bike length behind, he covered more than a quarter of that, but he certainly didn't look like he got up alongside us. Anyway, that's okay. A couple other note things for us, then we're going to go ahead and proceed today and see where that puts our sponsor confidence, which I would imagine won't change by much because we succeeded, but not super success. So I figure it's only going to be a slight positive, maybe a couple % better than it was, but should set us up to have our required result for the year. Anyway, Trek is leaving at the end of the year. It's the Split SE. Arab picked up an injury recently. It's May 1st now. I've done my dossiers for the first time. I spent the hours, which was why there was a split in the recording. I had a lot of time still left yesterday, but it took me hours to search rider by rider, nation by nation through Africa, and pick my targets for the year, which, just a little hint on where we're at with that one. A lot of it is going to come down to re-signing riders on the team, and not too many new faces coming in overall. It's going to be mostly focused on maintaining the squad that we have and allowing it to continue to grow. though there's one we're definitely letting go. But fractured kneecap for Arab. Van Aert has taken all 4 of the first monuments of the spring season, with just Lombardia at the end of the year left for him to try to tackle. So Van Aert is absolutely crushing it this year and has a chance to sweep the monuments here at the end of the season. Okay, so we have a perfect evaluation. We succeed, and our sponsor confidence drops by 3% instead of going up. Back to the make it make sense. We have a maximum squad evaluation. We've never had a registered riders positive, period. Samuels has been at plenty of these sponsored events. He wasn't at this one. He's been at plenty of them. We've never had a single, so that makes no difference. And yet somehow we succeed and get lower. But we are literally right on the edge. We've got to be at exactly 85% right now. 1% more, or a tenth more, and we are going to be into the super success range, which means we just need to bag any noteworthy result between now and the end of July. We will have at least one, but as we already noted, they aren't coming as frequent as last year despite positive results. So we're going to have to keep working. Isn't that amazing? We do exactly what we're supposed to do, and they're still not happy. In the meantime, as the calendar lightens up, thins out for us, and other major races, monuments in particular, start showing up on the calendar that we are not invited to, it's seeing us drop down the order. So we're down to 14th in the team rankings now, but we're still doing really well. It's still a very good season for us, and we're doing much better than years past. But this is putting us into a more dangerous position of we're already down to 3rd in terms of the Continental Pro rankings and have the potential to drop further back. You figure Arkea Samsic is going to have plenty of World Tour invites the rest of the way and probably a couple Grand Tours. They're going to pick up a couple 100 points. It just seems inevitable. So therefore, I doubt we're going to crack the top 3 this season. I highly doubt it, but we'll see. We might have to, for the first time pretty much since the beginning of this series, continue racing beyond August the 1st to acquire points and try to move back up, because the tail end of the season, other than La Vuelta and Il Lombardia, is much lighter in those World Tour races. We still have an opportunity at that point to go in and grab some points and maybe move back ahead of presumably Arkea Samsic and possibly others. Otherwise, we're in for upper mid-table Continental Pro finish this season, which means we'd have to keep plugging away to try to get those invites in future seasons. One thing I did not do this year, though, is the desperation ask for an invite to literally every event and get a yes on maybe 3 and then no on literally all of the rest. We could do that next year and maybe squeeze in a few extra races, chance for more points. Team gets stronger, develops. We're keeping the same riders essentially. I don't think we're going to have any problem retaining the guys that do have the expiring contracts, and therefore we have a team that's literally just going to grow a little bit more. The question, of course, as we kind of barely made it to Continental Pro as it was this year, is fingers crossed that the database hasn't outgrown us over the course of the year and see us bumped back down to Continental. That's the scary thing going forward. That's also going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.